I say, wow, 5 years.
It doesn't apply if you're overseas, but not with 150.
Personally, I'm a little bit baffled by it.
That was a decline there.
హలో ఆల్, అందరూ ఎలా ఉన్నారు? వెల్కమ్ బ్యాక్ టు అనదర్ ఇన్ఫర్మేటివ్ వీడియో. ఈ వీడియో మీరు ఫస్ట్ టైం చూస్తున్నట్టయితే, నేను ప్రియాంక, నేను న్యూజిలాండ్లో ఉంటాను. న్యూజిలాండ్ ఇమిగ్రేషన్ అప్డేట్స్ అండ్ మోర్ అదర్ వీడియోస్, ట్రావెల్ వీడియోస్ అన్నీ షేర్ చేస్తాను. ప్లీజ్ చెక్ దెమ్ అవుట్ అండ్ ఆల్సో కన్సిడర్ సబ్స్క్రైబింగ్. అండ్ ఈ వీడియోలో నేను ఒక ఇమిగ్రేషన్ అడ్వైజర్ తోటి Q&A చేయబోతున్నాను. సో నేను ఎంత ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇచ్చినా కూడా ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఈస్ ఇన్ ది ఇమిగ్రేషన్ వెబ్సైట్ or the news that I see here, adi nenu share chestunanu. But the information given by an immigration advisor and a law specialist is more worth. Andukane I'm doing this collaboration. Hello everyone, I'm here with David Fisher, immigration expert and an immigration law specialist. Hi David.
Hi,
thanks for doing this.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Yeah, sure. So my name is David Fisher, as Priyanka mentioned. So I am the director and founder of my company Immigration Chambers here in New Zealand. We're licensed for New Zealand immigration, also Australia. We have a number of advisors and also immigration lawyers in our team. We specialise on everything related to immigration for these two countries, mostly New Zealand. Ranging from visas all the way through to complex immigration matters, deportation appeals, declines, unlawful status, this type of thing. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So we are here to discuss about the 5-year work visa. So can you say about this, the new rule that came with this immigration update?
Yeah, sure. So everyone's quite excited about this because it sounds good, right?
Yes.
Hey, it used to be only 3 years, now it's 5 years.
Yes.
But it's not actually so simple. If you look into the detail of the announcement that came out, what they are really saying is that they are going to allow people to stay for a maximum of 5 years.
Okay.
Under this work visa process. And
maybe that's not how it's been understood.
Yeah,
at first.
that's right. Many people, they say, wow, 5 years, that's great. But what it really means is that 5 years is the limit. And if you have not obtained your residence by that time, you should go home and stay outside the country for at least 12 months before you come back in. Now, in practical terms, what that means is that anybody who has been granted, let's say, a 3-year visa, then they can extend that visa for a further 2 years maximum.
Okay.
Anyone who is already here and who stayed for up to 3 years or whatever, they can extend only up to the maximum of 5.
Okay, so it's not that you apply and you get 5 years straight?
It's actually not clear who will be granted 5 years. So the announcement that came out recently for this is still just an announcement. It's not actually a fixed policy. Right. So the fixed policy will come soon. They've said that from October this year, people can stay for up to 5 years. And we understand that to mean that they are probably going to introduce different criteria for the different length of time that somebody will be given.
Okay.
Maybe they will grant 5 years to everybody.
Okay.
Or maybe they will do something like if your pay rate is at a certain multiplier of median wages, 1.5 or 2 times, then you will get 5.
Okay.
Or if it's median wage exactly, you might get 3.
Okay.
Something like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the new migrants who only want to come on work visa straight by applying from anywhere out of the New Zealand?
Yeah.
So how this works for them?
It's actually going to work in the same way that it already has been working, which means that you will need an offer of employment.
Okay.
And that offer of employment will need to meet all the requirements for a satisfactory offer of employment for a visa, which means, number 1, the employer must be accredited.
Okay.
Number 2, the employer must have gone through a job check process, which means testing the local labour market, making sure there are no available New Zealanders. And then once that is approved, then they will get what's called a token. And using that token, the migrant can apply for the work visa.
Okay.
As long as, number 3, the migrant is eligible for that visa according to the policy and according to the pay rate and according to what is required in the job check.
Okay.
For example, let's say somebody wants to come in as a chef. Right, this is a common one, and there's an employer in New Zealand who is accredited and who cannot find a local chef. So they do advertisements. They run the advertisement for a while. They can't find anybody. They apply to Immigration New Zealand for the job check. They say we can't find anyone. They prove it, and then they get an approval.
Okay.
Then the migrant would need to be paid a certain pay rate, so median wages, and they would need to show that they have, let's say, the minimum level 4 qualification for New Zealand, or at least 3 years experience. An equivalent. Yeah, they could have an equivalent or some years of experience, and any other requirements that the employer has required. For example, the employer may state in the job check that because it's a 5-star hotel, they require someone to have at least 12 months experience on a 5-star hotel, international, something like that.
Students that's already here and want to apply for the work visas. Previously we had open work visa. Do we still have that?
Yeah. The post-study student visa pathway is still there. It has been changing over the years, and the length of visa you will get and the type of course you'll have to study, these are changing and it's becoming more strict. So the students who are already here on that sort of pathway through that, they will still have that eligibility. And anybody new who comes in, as long as the course they are studying meets the requirements for the post-study visa, they will still get that. That's a separate pathway. And besides that, there are other work visa options that you can get for New Zealand. The accredited employer work visa is not the only one. You can also be brought into New Zealand on what's called a specific purpose work visa, which means, let's say, for example, you are a machine operator and you have some specialist knowledge about a type of, for example, a printing machine. And there's one company in New Zealand who have bought this machine and they need a specialist to come in and train the local workers about how to use it. And then there's this person overseas who has that skills. They need to come here for 12 months to train the workers. That's what we call a specific purpose. In that case, the employer doesn't have to be accredited or to show that they can't find New Zealanders. Instead, what they have to show is that they genuinely require this specific purpose.
So if there is anyone that's on visitor visa here and wanting to change, will the rules still be the same?
It's exactly the same. There's a common misconception. People use this word convert. They say, I want to convert my visitor visa to a work visa. Well, you cannot convert a visa, but you can apply for a new visa. And the rules will apply to anyone identically, whether you are in the country on some visa or whether you are offshore. There is one key difference, and that is that when you apply for a visa while you are offshore, you have to present your application very well, because immigration will look at all the papers you have supplied and they will either approve or decline in most cases. Whereas when you apply from onshore, if the immigration officer finds some issue about the application and they want to decline, they're not allowed to decline automatically. They have to first inform us about the reasons for the decline and then give us an opportunity to respond. This is just a procedural fairness process, right?
So that rule doesn't apply if you're overseas?
The rule for that is very different when you're overseas, and so the threshold is lower, which means in most cases they will just decline you if they have a problem with it, but onshore they won't. So we have an opportunity to respond. The second thing is actually a key difference with applying onshore if you have, let's say, a visitor visa, is immigration may look into your what we call the bona fides. So people will often apply for a visitor visa to say that they are tourists, and they say, I'm coming to New Zealand to visit my auntie and she's having a wedding or a funeral or whatever, some reason. And then as soon as they arrive, suddenly they apply for a work visa. And then the immigration officer may say, oh, excuse me, hold on a second. You told us you're coming here for tourism and now suddenly you have a job offer?
Red flag.
Red flag, right? Or in some cases, like one that we've had this week, where somebody has come in as a tourist, but then within 2 weeks they apply for a student visa. And included in that application, they have provided documents that show they have enrolled in their course before they came to New Zealand, which means now the immigration officer is saying, I would like to decline this because it seems that when you came on your visitor visa, you were actually intending to be a student. So you have to be quite careful about this. Your intentions at the time of applying for a visa have to be clearly made to the immigration officers so they know that you're a genuine visitor.
Okay, so that was a decline there?
No, it's not yet a decline. We're addressing it. And the way we address these things, obviously we have our techniques. This is our job.
As a law specialist.
Exactly, We are something like what you could call a translator or an interpreter. We take your personal circumstances and we interpret it in such a way that the immigration officers can understand it. And in a case like this, we emphasize that the person was not sure that they had to disclose that. They actually did intend to come as a visitor, but at the same time they also made some plans to study while they're here. And you are allowed to have parallel intentions, right? This just has to be weighed up and explained. Sometimes also people change their mind, and maybe after they apply, but before they arrive, they have changed their mind and they decide they want to enroll in studies. We have to, let's say, convince the immigration officer to use their discretion in favor of the applicant.
And the most common question, partners
of yes.
Any work visa, especially this accredited work visas, is there any new changes for the partnership based?
That's right, yes. So there have been some recent changes, and personally I'm a little bit baffled by it. I don't think it was a good idea for them to do this.
Okay.
But what they have done from at least I think it was about a month ago, they brought in a rule that if you are eligible for a partnership visa, which means the partner, which is the work visa holder, has median wages already met, they have a sufficient pay rate, and then they can support the partner for the work visa. The partner will get an open work visa just like before.
Okay.
However, now that visa will come with conditions.
Okay.
And the condition is that if you take a job, you don't have to take a job, but if you take a job, the employer must be accredited. And your pay rate must also be median wages, which is currently $29.66, but is always going up.
That's okay.
Right.
That's
so
not
the reason why we're baffled by it is because that how are they going to monitor this? First of all, and most likely what will happen is people will not understand it. They will breach that condition, and then next time when they go to apply for some kind of visa, the visa officer may ask, "Okay, show me your pay slips, show me your bank statements," and then they'll look and say, "Oh, excuse me, you took a job for that cafe." Helping out washing dishes, and they only paid you minimum wage for 3 weeks. That's a breach of your visa conditions.
Right.
And the applicants will say, I didn't know that, I didn't realize.
Okay.
Yeah, so be very careful about that.
So it's not just the main applicant, the partner, if there is a partner, should have the accredited work visa as well.
No,
like a visa.
It's not that they should have the visa, but if they take a job, the employer must be accredited.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Unless their partner, which is the main applicant, has a job which is either paid at double the median wages, or they have a job which is on the green list, one of the green list occupations, and you can find the green list, you just search for it online. So for example, if there's a main applicant who earns, let's say, $150,000, they get their work visa, partner will get an open visa, no conditions.
Okay.
Or if the main applicant has a job, let's say as a registered nurse, it's on the green list, then the partner will have an open work visa, no conditions. Okay. But if the main applicant is just a regular, normal person like you and me, and they have a normal job, then the partner will have those conditions.
Okay, that's... Okay.
I don't mean to say that you have a normal job. Your job is wonderful.
But not with 150K. Okay. Can you give my subscribers or anyone watching this video, how can you help, advise, and how the process works?
I guess, first of all, I should really make it clear what is the importance of using a professional to help you, because we see this very often. I understand that the majority of your subscribers, maybe not all, but the majority are from India, and we deal a lot with Indians. Probably about 50% of our client base are of Indian origin, and so we see it a lot that people will, in trying to leave India, they will go to a local agent who is not licensed for New Zealand and not knowledgeable about the really complex nature of immigration. They are instead just looking for some commission to sell you a course. And so be careful, because you're going to get caught out by the sharks. You know, they do not charge you for their advice because you are the product. They are selling you, right? They are taking your profile and selling you to some education provider who is going to pay them big money. Now, as an example, if you come to New Zealand to study a 1-year postgraduate diploma, the agent may receive a commission of about 3,000 New Zealand dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
That's quite a lot in India.
It's quite a lot. Yeah, maybe 3 months' wages for a normal person, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So it's quite a lot, and because of that, there's an incentive for them to just get that visa. And this is why sometimes they will say, "Hey, don't worry, you just give me your documents, I'll handle it." And occasionally they will not fill the forms correctly, or they omit to say certain things. And so, my advice, first of all, is that you should contact a professional who's either in New Zealand or who is in India, but a registered, licensed immigration advisor, because we are bound by the duties that are enshrined in statutes of New Zealand, right? If we give you incorrect advice, or if we don't follow proper procedure, we can lose our license and we can be sanctioned. So it's very important to find a good professional who knows what they're talking about. And on top of that, you want to find someone who not only is going to help you do the application properly, but who actually has your best interests at heart and can consider your actual long-term goals. So, for example, a background in accounting, right? And then the agent in India says, "Oh no, accounting's hard. Here, we'll sell you a business diploma."
Yeah.
Because it's easy for them to get a commission for a business diploma.
Yeah.
But actually, if you've got a background in accounting, it might be more suitable to take something like a more specified accounting study here, which will lead you into an actual accounting job. Sometimes people have, maybe a background in accounting, but they get sold into studying cookery. How does that work?
Yeah.
I got some other clients.
Just by saying that there's more jobs in that.
But the job has to match with your profile and who you are. So how can we help? Well, look.
Especially to the ones who are in India and wanting this advice or want the application process. So.
The first way we can help is through things like this. We give lots of publicly available free information. We've got my YouTube channel, we've got our Instagram. In terms of direct contact with us, it is a little bit hard because, as you're aware, India has a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
I think it's currently 1.3 billion people, and very many of you are trying to leave the country for work and living and studying overseas. So we receive daily a lot of emails and messages, and it's really hard for us to address every single inquiry because we don't know who's genuine and who can actually come. So what we have is we have a process whereby people can actually undertake a full eligibility assessment with us, and it does cost money. We have various options for that. I'm not trying to sell this here, so you can contact us later if you're interested. But that way, yes, you do pay something, but you're actually going to get proper advice and proper guidance as to what is suitable for you. And so that's the first way we can help. Once we determine that you're eligible for something and that you're actually able to come to New Zealand, we can also help guiding you towards perhaps the right type of study you want to do. Right, or guiding you towards understanding how to apply for jobs in New Zealand. Right, and this is all sort of part of our services. As I said, we can't do everything for free, but once somebody becomes our client and is, let's say, on our books, as Priyanka can vouch for, we always try to do the best we can to help people. We cannot do everything for you, but we can at least be holding your hand as you go.
I'm the best example of that one advice that changed or just gave me that pathway to the residency with no complications, I would say. That one good advice from you.
Yes, I remember that day because I even remember where I was standing. The phone call came and it was Shiv who mentioned to me, there's this phone call from someone called Priyanka, what can we do, what do you think? And it was the weekend.
So,
and what we were able to do is, what I did on that moment was basically just assess whether or not you would be eligible for something to apply as a work visa, because that's what you wanted to do, right?
Yes, and you also gave me heads up that there may be questions from immigration, but we can answer those. So
that's right.
It worked for me. Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem.
So with the accredited work visas, employer-assisted ones, what is the application fee and the process time and everything?
So the application fee for the actual work visa application is $750, but I should also mention that there are other costs to get to that point for the employer. So that, like I mentioned, the employer must be accredited. There's a cost for them to do that, $740 application fee. There's also a cost for the job check application, which is $610. Those costs lie on the employer. And I want to emphasize to you guys here that if you're trying to apply for a job and a visa and the employer says to you, I need to do my accreditation and job check, you will pay for that. This is actually illegal.
That's my next question. That's not legal.
It's not legal. They are not allowed by law, and it is specifically mentioned in this policy. The employer is not allowed to recover those costs from you, nor are they allowed to recover any other costs of recruitment, including the advertisement costs or anything that they try to claim. They can claim back from you things like if, for example, they offer you an airplane ticket and some settlement funds to get into the country, they can claim this back through your employment. That's normal employment law conditions. But the cost of recruitment and the cost of the application for their accreditation, they cannot. So $750 is your application fee. And current processing times, we see ranging on average, the applications we are doing 1 to 2 months. But I have to qualify that by saying that the actual range is very wide because every application is determined on its own merits. Sometimes if somebody has some unique issues with the application, they maybe have a health problem or some previous declines or other character concerns, this can take much longer. And other times if the application is very clean, such as a highly paid, well-reputed employer, good applicant, we can see approvals within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I guess we pretty much covered everything related to the accredited workplaces.
Nice.
So
That's
thank
everything for the
you.
work visas. Look, I hope everybody has got something from that.
Yeah.
We should do this again. We should
We
cover some more
should do
topics.
this. See, instead of me giving all this information from the immigration website and whatever I see on the news, I wanted it to come from you. Especially, I know that I can vouch you 100% or even more.
Well,
so
you know,
thank you.
I always tell people, don't trust me 100%. You should trust your own mind based on
Yeah.
what I say.
I trust the advice that you gave me. It worked for me, so yeah, I do. Okay, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks
No
for your
problem.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I really hope this video is helpful to you. If you have any questions, please comment them below, and I'll be posting more useful links here and all the contact details of David Fisher. Thank you all, and please do consider subscribing, and I will see you with my other video very soon. Thank you.